and people are not so open to talk about these things, and people, obviously it's something terrible.
It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
number two, given है कि अगर आप emotions को suppress करोगे, तो वो जरूर physical symptoms में manifest हो जाएगा. It's
right.
okay. What you think and what I think, we're supposed to think differently. Why am I trying to convince you to think? A lot of people ask me that you were raped and
Hello guys, welcome back to Make a Change. Today we have a very special guest with us, Shalini Chuganee. Shalini is an accomplished life and relationship coach, business consultant, and certified cognitive behavioral therapy practitioner. With a wealth of experience in emotional intelligence, confidence development, and mental health awareness, she has touched many lives and continues to inspire positive change. Shalini, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Ashwarya. I'm very happy to be here. I am very impressed with the series that you've been doing. And so it is my honor to be here. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited for the conversation to happen. So, to start off, Shalini, your journey is quite fascinating. From a solid academic background with a master's from George Washington University and courses from Harvard to your extensive work in mental health and personal development, you have had a diverse and impactful career. Can you share a bit about your journey, how your journey began, and what inspired you to move from fashion industry to life coaching and CBT?
Okay, so it's very interesting. So, yes, I am a brand consultant and I still am one, but for only very special projects. But I loved brand consulting. Lifestyle was something that was a passion of mine. I loved understanding lifestyle, I loved understanding the value of lifestyle. And more than that, I really felt that a lot of different brand consultants, they do a lot of B2B and B2C. So, we're talking about business to business, brand to brand, business to consumer. I always thought that the emotional quotient was really, really important when you were trying to connect a brand with a consumer. So I would call it B to H. It was more brand to human.
Okay.
And that's how I worked as a business consultant. And it wasn't only fashion, it was in all verticals in the premium, space, from real estate to healthcare to education, fashion, of course, beauty, wellness. And once when COVID happened, a lot of individuals were asking me, they're like, okay, so what is your game plan? And I said, you know what? I have been really, really working hard to modify people's lifestyles. I think now I want to modify their lives. And it was then that I decided to become a cognitive behavioral therapist. I had already been doing emotional intelligence development for kids from 12 to 22 years of age for many years. And I am a professor as well. I was a part-time professor at the Government Law College, in fact, in Mumbai. And, when I was living there. And beyond that, I was also a professor at the International Baccalaureate School, DY Pato. So, so I also was working there. So, for me, it was interesting to realize that, okay, wait, emotion plays such a big part. Emotional health, emotional wellness, emotional balance, from even the professional to the personal aspect. I said, this is something I want to do. So I became a cognitive behavioral therapy practitioner. Today, I'm a triple certified New York State marriage and family therapist. I also am certified in multiple multi-systemic models of cognitive psychotherapy and behavioral therapy. And I love what I do. And beyond that, I don't know, but being a marriage and family therapist, I'm also a sex coach. So I talk a lot to couples about how to deal with intimacy stress or deal with anything that comes in the way in terms of their sexual health as well.
Right.
Yeah, that was my journey and it was fun, but it was all about just transforming the emotion. And I'm very spiritual as well. So, yeah.
That's so amazing. Like you just, grabbed the opportunity and you did so many certifications and you are so into this field and you're helping people out because this is a kind of a thing which I believe. Like I've been hosting the show for last 4 years and I have seen people not talking very openly about what they feel, and it's like some, because they think that people will judge, or maybe it's not that important, and but they do not know that this is the root cause for all the problems, for all the issues. Maybe it can be your generational trauma or family thing, which is hampering you out, and which is leading to your overthinking and stress. So I think that this is a very important area that we should really talk upon, and we should
Mhm.
touch. Yeah, and you are doing that. That's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So are you. You're
Thank
doing the
you.
same thing. You're bringing awareness to a field which is very, very important. And just to, tap onto that one statement you made where individuals are very mentally affected, they have an affect on them on a mental level because people judge them.
Right.
The fact is people don't, they do.
Hmm.
You are in a society that judges. We
Right.
have a lot of pathological accommodation, societal accommodation, norms, regulations, requirements of how to behave. The issue here is to try and externalize it as much as possible. We tend to internalize what people say about us. And
Right.
that's when the whole issue starts to begin, where
Right.
our mental health is very badly affected.
Right.
And especially with social media, a lot of social
Yeah.
media today, the likes, the comments, you wait for them, you wonder. I mean, I'll make one statement and then we'll move forward. I have about 92,000 followers on Instagram. Okay. It's just happened. It's whatever. It's happened. It's organic. But somebody asked me that day, so how does it feel to be an influencer? And I said, look, I'm not an influencer. I'm influential. That's the difference. I want to influence someone to have a better quality of life through a better quality of thought.
Right.
I don't want to be an influencer. I'm happy being influential. And that's what I am.
I totally agree with you, and that's such a strong point that you have picked up. And I would say, कि बहुत easy होता है, to be honest. Like if I say in my words, कि बहुत easy होता है अपनी चीजों को छुपाना, but उससे ज्यादा difficult होता है खुद को express करना. And बहुत ज्यादा हिम्मत लगती है अंदर से when you are just letting your emotions out, and people say ना कि just show मत करो, that makes you strong. uh, and रो मत, तुम weak थोड़ी हो. रोते वीक नहीं है, रोना भी बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग इमोशन है, एंड यू कैन नॉट
बहुत
सप्रेस योर इमोशंस. अपने इमोशंस को सप्रेस नहीं कर सकते. दैट थिंग यू सेड दैट अदरवाइज यू विल बी अ ज़ॉम्बी. क्या डिफरेंस रह जाएगा एक ज़ॉम्बी और एक आप में? क्योंकि यू हैव इमोशन, राइट? लाइक हम रोबोट से बात करते तो फीलिंग नहीं आ पाती, बट एक ह्यूमन से बात करते तो फीलिंग आती है. क्यों? क्योंकि हमारे पास इमोशंस है. तो जब इमोशंस है तो उसको लेट आउट करो, बट हाँ, ओवर कंट्रोल ऐसे मत करो कि इमोशंस हमें कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं.
एग्जैक्टली exactly. और एक चीज भी है, ये साइंटिफिकली प्रूवन है कि अगर आप इमोशंस को सप्रेस करोगे तो वो जरूर फिजिकल सिम्टम्स में मैनिफेस्ट हो जाएगा. जैसे जितने भी हमारा फिजिकल सिकनेसेस है ना, जो भी इलनेस हो जाती है, सब कुछ वेरी वेरी स्ट्रांगली लिंक्ड टू द मेंटल स्टेट. कि आप इमोशंस को, हम बोलते भी है कि इमोशंस जो है ना वो एक्चुअली गुड या बैड नहीं है, वो एक्चुअली इंफॉर्मेशन है नर्वस सिस्टम का. ओके तो जो भी, अगर हम सैड है, अगर हम क्राई, अगर हम रो रहे हैं या कुछ हो रहा है, डिप्रेशन के स्टेट में कुछ लग रहा है, एंजाइटी, ये सब नर्वस सिस्टम डिसरेगुलेशन है.
राइट.
वो
राइट.
सबसे ज्यादा वो ही है. ओके ये वो नहीं है जो हम सोच रहे हैं कि हम एकदम सैड है. नहीं, हमारा नर्वस सिस्टम में कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है.
राइट.
तो इमोशंस जो है वो वो हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है, हमारा आउटलेट भी है. ऐसे आप सप्रेस करोगे तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा. और एक चीज मैं बोलूंगी, पेन इज इनएविटेबल.
राइट.
दर्द सबको है. सफरिंग जो है ना वो, उसका कॉज है अवॉइडेंस. कि आप पेन को अवॉइड कर रहे हो, एस्केपिज्म कर रहे हो, कोपिंग मैकेनिज्म्स जो अनहेल्थी है, पी रहे हो या स्मोक कर रहे हो, भाग रहे हो अपने प्रॉब्लम से, वहां सफरिंग हो जाती. ये सब फेक इट टिल यू मेक इट जो है ना, ये क्लीशे वो
या.
नहीं है. फेस इट अंटिल यू मेक इट, वो है.
Yeah, आजकल we are listening ki like fake it until you make it and be delusional. Don't
No,
accept
it's
what's
face it till
happening
you make it.
around you.
Face it.
Yeah. you need to face it, and वो face करने के लिए ना अंदर से बहुत strength चाहिए होती है, बहुत ज्यादा.
बहुत स्ट्रेंथ, लेकिन स्ट्रेंथ से भी ज्यादा फेथ होना चाहिए। सी हमारा जो ये कॉन्फिडेंस है ना, वो
Yeah.
हमेशा ऊपर नीचे जाएगा।
Hmm.
एक दिन अच्छा जाएगा तो हम बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट है, दूसरा दिन अच्छा नहीं जाएगा तो हमको कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है। लेकिन ये फेथ जो है ना, ये फेथ फेथ हमारे अंदर का फेथ फेथ इन योरसेल्फ, वो सबसे ज्यादा लिनियर होता है, हमेशा ऊपर 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 जाता है। कि जितना भी हमारे चेंजेस हो जाते हैं कुछ, फेथ को कंसिस्टेंट रहना चाहिए।
Right.
कॉन्फिडेंस को जाना दो।
So
ये
what do you
सेल्फ
suggest?
कॉन्फिडेंस जो लोग बोल रहे हैं कुछ नहीं है।
So what do you suggest? कि faith maintain कैसे कर सकते हैं?
सेल्फ लव से। सबसे बड़ी बात ये है कि ऐश्वर्या, अगर अगर आप अपने आप को प्यार करोगे ना, तो आप
Right.
मेरे को रीजन दे रहे हो आपसे प्यार करने को।
Right.
अगर आप ही अपने आप को प्यार नहीं करोगे तो मैं क्यों प्यार करूं आपसे? अपने
Exactly.
आप में फेथ नहीं है, वैल्यू नहीं है, रिस्पेक्ट नहीं है, तो मैं क्यों डालूं ये सब कुछ? तो अगर आपको बिलीफ या कोर फेथ चाहिए कि मैं ऐसी हूं या मैं ऐसा हूं, तो सेल्फ लव का यही यही प्योर कोर है। When you love yourself, you give me a reason to love you.
Yeah, I totally
That's
agree
how
with
it
you.
goes.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Also always say, जब तक आप खुद से प्यार नहीं करोगे, तब तक how can you expect other people to love you? तो
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. और ये फेथ का जो आपने मेरे को पूछा, सेल्फ लव तो एक है। लोग सेल्फ लव और सेल्फ एक्सेप्टेंस को एक ही कैटेगरी में डालते हैं। ये ये नहीं है। सेल्फ लव यहाँ है, सेल्फ एक्सेप्टेंस यहाँ है। एक्सेप्टेंस की बात ये है कि I am going to say to myself that whatever I am, it's okay. I'm going to have some things that are amazing. I'm going to have some things that are not amazing,
right,
but they're me and they're mine. And that's what matters. I am not fighting for equality. I am not a feminist. I am not equal. You are not equal to me. I am not better than you. You are not better than me. But we are not equal. We are different. And that is our superpower, that we're
right,
different.
right, right.
मुझे इक्वल नहीं बनना है आपके साथ, ना तो मुझे बेहतर बनना है, मुझे डिफरेंट ही रहना है।
Yeah,
क्योंकि मैं डिफरेंट हूँ और आप डिफरेंट हो, इसलिए इट्स फन। नहीं
of
तो हम
course.
सब एक की तरह एक ही हो जाएंगे तो उसमें क्या, आई मीन लाइफ विल रियली बी
Yeah.
वेरी बोरिंग। या
आपको आप किसी की जैसे क्यों बनना चाहते हो, उसमें कुछ अलग क्वालिटीज हैं, आप में कुछ अलग क्वालिटीज हैं, एंड इफ यू विल बी सेम, जस्ट तो डिफरेंस क्या रह जाएगा? देन आई एम ऑल्सो ऐश्वर्या, यू आर ऑल्सो ऐश्वर्या, यू आर ऑल्सो शालिनी, आई एम ऑल्सो शालिनी, तो क्या डिफरेंस रह
एग्जैक्टली
जाएगा उन दोनों में? तो हम एक तरह से
एग्जैक्टली
फिर अपने रेप्लिका से बात कर रहे हैं ना, अगर हमें सेम ही बनना है तो।
एग्जैक्टली। और इसलिए मैं बोलती भी हूँ, क्योंकि आपने मेरे को एक एक चीज पहले, हम बात कर रहे थे पहले, आपने बोला कि रिलेशनशिप्स में आप क्या सोचते हो।
या
ये एक चीज मैं बोलूंगी, and I'm going to do it in English as well as in Hindi, but I'll try and explain it the best way I can. हमारी सबसे बड़ी गलती रिलेशनशिप्स में ये है कि हम हमेशा, जब भी हम हमारा पार्टनर कुछ करेगा या करेगी अलग, और वो हमको पसंद नहीं आए, हम
राइट।
ऑटोमेटिकली उनको बोलेंगे शट अप, नहीं ये मत करो, ऐसे मत करो। मैं सोच रही हूँ कि ये पार्टनर हमने चुना है हमारा पूरा जिंदगी के साथ बिताने के लिए, कि हम दोनों एक साथ ये लव के जर्नी में जाएंगे और सब कुछ। मैं आपको क्यों अपने आप से अलग तरीके से बिहेव करना चाहती? Why am I making you into what I want you to be? That means that by the end of the relationship, 15, 20, 50 years, whatever it is, I don't even know who you are, because the whole time I've been trying to make you into what I want. Allow your partner to be themselves and
राइट,
agree to disagree with love. It's
राइट,
okay. What you think and what I think, we're supposed to think differently. Why am I trying to convince you to think like me or be like me or do what I want? Then I'm loving a version that I have created, not
एग्जैक्टली,
someone real.
एग्जैक्टली।
And it doesn't make sense. It does
तो
not make sense.
Totally,
Yeah.
totally it makes
We spend
sense.
so much of our life trying to convert our partners into what we want rather than letting them be who they want. So by the
Yeah.
end, we don't know who our partner really is. We just don't know them.
Instead of,
It's sad.
instead of अपनी decisions उन पे forcefully implement करने से, just have a conversation, discuss what you dislike about them, or what you think that they can improve as a person. Just discuss it. वो नहीं तो decision थोपो मत उन पे. Instead आप उनसे discuss
Exactly.
करो. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's something. So what advice would you like? What strategies would you suggest, for building and maintaining resilient relationships?
Well, the first thing I would say, of course, is the time when we are supposed to talk to our partners is when we shut down. We've had a fight, so we don't talk. When you have a fight, you should talk. You should communicate. So when we're supposed to communicate with our partners, we stop talking to our partners. So that in itself is a big problem. Communicate effectively, argue effectively. There's a skill to even how you argue. Argue in an effective manner. That's number one. Communicate. That's number two, but communicate when you're supposed to communicate the most. Number three, fight the issue, the problem. Don't fight each other. You must focus on what is the problem, what is the issue. Do that.
Right.
Number four, honestly speaking, I have entrusted my emotional well being to my partner, and they have entrusted their emotional well being to me. Make sure that you protect that, because I'll tell you very honestly, relationships don't break because of love or a lack of love or a lack of respect or a lack of value. Relationships end because of lack of security and a lack of safety. If I don't feel safe with you anymore, if that emotional safety net has gone down, I don't feel safe with you, I don't want to be with you.
Right.
It is about making your partner feel safe that even if we disagree, even if we have problems, we will still be there, we will still communicate. And my main thing, and this is a Gottman method, it's a psychotherapy model that I use with couples. And I say this, when I take you individually, you are my client. When I take you as a couple, the relationship is my client.
Right.
So I always say, focus on what you're doing right rather than on what you are doing wrong.
Exactly.
तो अपने पार्टनर्स के साथ जब आप बात करोगे ना रोज एक तो चीज बोलना कि आपने ऐसा किया मुझे इतना अच्छा लगा, क्योंकि जितना भी आप बोलोगे अपने पार्टनर को कि आज आपने ये किया मेरे लिए इतना अच्छा था, ज्यादा वो सेफ्टी सिक्योरिटी और बॉन्डिंग वो बढ़ जाती है। क्योंकि नहीं तो आप सोचो हम कभी भी नहीं आउट ऑफ द वे जाके बोलेंगे कि लिसन ये जो आज आपने ये किया मेरे लिए मुझे इतना अच्छा लगा, या रिलेशनशिप के लिए ये किया इतना अच्छा लगा। हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा पॉइंट आउट करेंगे जो आपने नहीं किया
Right.
या जो आपने रॉन्ग किया। जो आपने राइट किया आप कभी नहीं बोलते।
हाँ, नहीं बोलते. And it is
और
a
सोच लो कि जब भी सॉरी लास्ट थिंग, जब भी हम कुछ सोचेंगे कि आपने राइट किया, ये हमको पर्पसफुली इंटेंशनली करना पड़ता है, लेकिन वो रॉन्ग जो किया ना वो ऑटोमेटिक हो जाए,
right.
ऑटोमेटिक। या
It
इट्स
is a
दैट।
thing of being grateful to your partner every
या
day. And मतलब आप ना appreciate करो what you liked in the thing and क्या अच्छा हुआ. It gives them motivation to do more such things like that. Instead of
एब्सोल्युटली।
instead of वो खुद को demean नहीं करेंगे, yeah I'm not a good partner or I'm not good in relationship, वो खुद को demean नहीं करेंगे और वो सामने से like this is emotional, वो सामने से even try भी करेंगे खुद को rectify करने की कि अच्छा उसको मेरी दो बातें अच्छी लगी है तो एक चीज उसको जो बुरी लग रही है ना मैं उसको भी ठीक करने की कोशिश करता हूँ.
एग्जैक्टली। और ये जो है ना अप्रिसिएशन की बात, ग्रैटिट्यूड की बात,
Right.
ये जो है ना ज्यादा से ज्यादा कॉम्प्लीमेंट करो अपने पार्टनर को। हम कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स क्यों नहीं देते?
Right.
आई मीन ये ईगो की बात भी नहीं है। जब भी आप रिलेशनशिप में आ रहे हो ना, आप अपना ईगो को भारी रखना, रिलेशनशिप के अंदर मत लेके आना। ये ईगो जो है ना, ईगो और सेल्फ लव में बहुत फर्क है।
True that.
ओके, आप ऐसे मत सोचना कि सेल्फ लव के लिए ईगो की जरूरी है। ईगो जो है ना, हम सब में है, लेकिन वो भी सही है कि ईगो को कंट्रोल नहीं लेना चाहिए। अगर लाइट है तो डार्क तो है, बैड है तो गुड तो है, लेकिन ईगो भी होएगा, लेकिन ईगो को काबू में रखना,
I
रिलेशनशिप के
totally,
पास मत लेके आना।
yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you on that. So true. Like, आपको हजार बातें अच्छी हो वो याद नहीं रहेंगी, बट दो जो बुरी होंगी ना वो याद रहेंगी. इट्स ह्यूमन नेचर. But you need to remember yourself for the good deeds that person has done to you. And you need to remind the other person as well कि हाँ तुमने ये अच्छा किया. So,
Yeah,
yeah. So true.
absolutely.
So, like, you have talked about the importance of, embracing yourself, embracing challenges. So, can you share a personal story where facing a significant challenge led to profound personal growth, and how you how have you navigated that?
Well, I mean, people know about this, and I have shared it on Instagram, so it's okay. So when I was 15, I was raped, and I was actually raped by my father's best friend. And it was a very difficult time. And I went through a lot. And I had the emotional quotient to know that I couldn't tell my parents at that time because I didn't want my father to, do anything and get into any trouble. I thought that he would do something and he would get angry, and then I didn't want him to face any, repercussions. So I kept it to myself. The reason I bring this up is because victims of sexual assault,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of people ask me that you were raped and you basically were unable to speak to anyone, yet today you are a sexual health advocate where you
right,
help people embrace sex rather than what I went through. A lot of people would run away from
hate
sex.
it. Yeah, right.
But I made it a point, and the reason I'm sharing this is it's so important to know that sex did not violate me. The man violated me. Distinguish when you face trauma or challenges, see where the violation is coming from. It was not the act. What he did to me with that act was horrible, but that doesn't mean I had to hate the act for the rest of my life. I instead used my pain and made it my power. So process your challenges, make your pain your power, because we all, like I said, are going to go through pain. It's inevitable, but suffering is caused by avoidance, running away. So when I say embrace challenges, I don't want you to embrace trauma, okay? I want you to process the trauma because that trauma can become a great, great tool for you to use to become powerful and stronger. And one thing I truly stand by is if you focus on the pain, you will always suffer. If you focus on the lesson, you will always grow.
I
So
totally
sometimes you don't go through it, you have to grow through it. That's what you do.
like, this is something so sensitive and so
Yeah.
touching that I even don't know what to say on this. But all I would say is, like, you are very strong and you are brave enough to talk about this, and you have done, you have showed that courage to come out of that and make this a part of your life in a very positive way,
Mhm.
that you are changing lives of billions of people now. So
Right.
I would say that hats off to you, literally hats off to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I am very open about talking about it, only because I feel that, like I said, it was trauma, it was horrible, but I'm not going to make, you know, people feel that we cannot overcome this.
Right.
because we can.
Yeah.
We can, but we have to process it. We
Right.
have to process it. And like I said, I had a very strong EQ, and I hope other people do as well. But yeah,
No, that's amazing. Like seriously, it's amazing.
thank you.
Um, and people are not so open to talk about these things, and
Mhm.
people obviously it's something terrible. And the thing which you
Yeah,
said that the problem is that was a person, not that thing, not sex.
yeah,
It was the person. So I guess कि हमें ना ये emotional intelligence सबको होनी चाहिए. ये emotional intelligence is a part, like I would say some general knowledge कहते हैं ना general knowledge you should be aware of that. I really think that emotional intelligence should be the part of you, like every person out there. And this is not something that you are going and consulting, but I guess it should be inbuilt, something
mhm,
we people should do about it. Taking a step forward, learning what emotional intelligence is, and learning how to manage your own emotion, because people out there don't know, not even a single person, I believe. There are many few people, I'm sorry,
mhm.
who are aware about about their emotions. And it's so, like, I think it's the main cause of everything out there. It's a main
Yeah,
cause
it
of
is.
your
It is.
relationships, your friendships, your work, your lifestyle, everything, because it's emotions, and handling them is not easy, but you need to learn it.
Yeah. There are two parts to this, Aishwarya. There's emotional intelligence and there's emotional maturity.
Okay.
दोनों में फर्क है. And it's true. Emotional intelligence is something that you learn
Yeah.
and you can start to implement within your system by controlling the way you think, by manifesting your thoughts in a different manner, by actually, focusing intentionally on what you're thinking. Because then you will realize that 90% of your thoughts are actually, they're not even facts. They're not facts at all. They're just assumptions.
Right.
And then beyond that, you have the emotional maturity, which is what you get through the challenges you face. Every time you go through a challenge, you do emotionally become more mature.
Right.
And
Right.
that is why, as we go through pain, we realize that there are two paths. You can either focus on growing
Yeah.
and becoming more mature, or you succumb.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And that's where we have to pay a little attention.
You know,
Yeah.
the biggest thing that I like about this thing is there's a very good classification about that. यू नो एक हीरो और विलन में क्या डिफरेंस होता है? उनकी दोनों की लाइफ स्टोरी में स्ट्रगल है, दोनों की लाइफ स्टोरी में ट्रॉमा भी होता है, बट दे आर टू डिफरेंट पर्सन जो हैंडल देयर इमोशंस. एक कहते हैं कि नहीं, मुझे इन सब चीजों से बाहर निकल के ग्रो करना है. एक कहते हैं कि नहीं, ये सब चीजें इसकी वजह से हुई है ना, तो अब तो मुझे हेट ही हो गई है ह्यूमैनिटी से, एंड आई विल नॉट डू एनीथिंग गुड because
Yeah.
that person is fighting from himself.
Mhm.
No, like this theory of hero and villain has always fascinated me. Like I
Mhm.
think when like I have always seen villain with a different mindset. That हम तो बोलते हैं यार वो villain है यार, वो तो बेकार इंसान है. Just see what that person has gone through, and what that person uh, you know has in, like, in his past. But
Mhm.
the thing is that villains don't know the only difference between hero and villains. That heroes know like
Mhm.
know about their emotions. They are mature enough to deal with them and get out
Mhm.
of it. But villains are normal persons who had the same experiences, but they do not know how to come out of it.
Mhm. Yeah. The thing is that it's all, again, leading to your thoughts, how
Right.
you think, right? So there's recovered trauma and there's unrecovered trauma. The main thing over here is, again, I keep saying the same thing, I know, but it's about processing. Processing is the main thing. So if you're a villain or if you're a hero, yes, it's all trauma. Trauma has led to you becoming either one.
Right.
Okay. Today, I am probably the therapist I am today, which I know I'm a good therapist. And I
Yeah.
probably am a good therapist because of the amount of trauma I've gone through.
Right.
If I hadn't gone through this much trauma, I wouldn't be able to be the therapist because I wouldn't know the feeling. I wouldn't
Exactly.
understand how to deal with it. I wouldn't be able to help you process it. I have felt it. I have gone through it. I have processed it. And that is why I'm able to be the way I am. But this whole hero and villain concept, none of us are not a little toxic. None of us are not a little difficult. None of us do not have a little bit of that
Yeah.
villainous within us. Okay. So it's just about whether or not we act.
Right, right, right.
It's about acting on those thoughts. So
I totally
I
agree.
always say reaction comes from the ego,
Yeah,
response comes from the heart.
right.
Practice the pause, that one thing, take that one breath before you're about to impulsively say something. And that will help you distinguish whether you want to have this outcome or that outcome. I always say every problem doesn't have a solution, but every situation has an outcome. And power is not control, power is influence. If you
Okay.
have the ability to influence the outcome,
Yeah,
that's when you retain.
true that, true that. And I totally agree with you on that point.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God. Now I'm in a very deep thinking.
Good.
That's something, okay, that's something we are going really good right now. And like, so as a CBT, therapist, what are some of the most effective strategies you have used to help clients transform negative thought patterns into positive ones?
Okay. So one of the main things is I always ask the clients to please dispute their thoughts. So what I'm saying is what you're feeling. Let's say you're feeling sadness and
Okay.
there's a thought behind it. What you're feeling is valid. You are feeling that.
Hmm.
But I want you to ask yourself why you're feeling it. What is the actual thought behind it? And is that thought real? So we need to dispute that thought. So I use a lot of logic to break down that thought to help you understand that maybe this thought is not real.
Right.
Maybe it's just my mind, trying to tell me that it is, but it's not. So the number one thing is yes, I use what we call the downward arrow, where I go back to asking you questions as so if this is true, what does it mean to you? Again, I'll ask it until we get down to the core belief. And then that core belief is what we work on as well. So
Right.
that's one methodology that I like to use. The second one, of course, is disputing that thought using Socrates, using logical reasoning. Another methodology that I really encourage that we use is to understand exactly why, when you're feeling something, is it actually what you're feeling? Is it the emotion? Is it the sensation? Or is it the feeling? We need to break that up because those three are very different things. And then ultimately go back to the thought that is leading to all of that. And again, break down that thought. In CBT, the main thing in cognitive behavioral therapy, the main thing that we do is dispute your thoughts to reframe them into positive thought processes. But again, I also want you to realize that even if a thought is negative, it doesn't matter. It is the cognitive distortion. So, for example, let's say you are coming to me and you're anxious and you're saying, what if tomorrow this happens? I help you to translate the what if
Hmm.
into even if. Even if tomorrow this thing happens, we will figure it out. So
Right.
that's another method. And then one of the most usual methods that we implement is called the ABC thought diary. That's where you have the actual event,
Okay.
the thoughts, the beliefs, and then the consequences. So
Okay.
I put it down on paper to help you realize what took you from this to that behavior so that you don't repeat it again. And we break down the thoughts.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That only a therapist can tell. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good. It's so good to, have a conversation with you, and it was so insightful. Like, I went into very deep thinking and, all the questions and everything. It was so nice talking to you about everything. Like, I do not even want to end this conversation right now. But coming to an end, what message would you like to say to the audience out there?
Oh, gosh. Well, the first thing I want to say is, like I said earlier, life is simple. It's not easy, but it is simple.
Mhm.
And I think that the more that you embrace challenges, the more that you look at what you're going through as basic journey of life, I think at that point you'll realize that it's not that bad. It's not as terrible as you have made it out to be. You see, perception is reality and
Right.
it becomes your truth. I understand that completely. But the main issue over here is to know that don't escape your emotions, don't escape your problems, process them because there is so much power in processing.
Right.
And please know if you're not feeling okay, speak to someone. It's okay. Mental health in India is yet to pick up
Yeah.
to where it should.
Yeah. Right.
And know that mental health is not only, I call my clients, not patients, because you're not sick. We all have mental health issues. And if you realize that it's okay, then you'll realize that you don't have to go to get medicine and it's not the end of the world. I don't even work with medicine. I only work with thoughts and psychotherapy. So you can talk to someone and they can help you through it by just talking as well.
Right.
So yeah, so talk. Don't be, and realize one last thing I'll say, honestly, most of your growth doesn't come from learning and voicing it out to that point. Most of your growth comes from the unlearning behavioral patterns,
Right.
unthinking cognitive distortion
Yeah.
patterns,
True.
unsilencing when you've been silenced with your emotions. So practice a lot of the uns as well. It's good for you.
Thank
Undo
you
what?
so much. Like, I think that's a very insightful, message for the audience and the listeners that are listening to us right now. And I want to say just that thing that Shalini has said, that जो just उन्होंने जो बोला है follow करो and you know learn to deal with your emotions and don't run away from it. जितना भागोगे उतना पीछे आएगा, and you can never let go of the past, you can never let go of your emotions. It's just वो धीरे धीरे pile up होते रहेंगे and एक दिन ऐसा आएगा कि वो जब सब let out होगा. So instead clean करते रहो time to time. Yeah. So
पास्ट एक लेसन
yeah.
है, लाइफ
Right.
सेंटेंस नहीं होना चाहिए.
Right. Right. Yeah, so Shalini, how is the experience today on the show Make a Change? Let's dive to more unashamed conversations.
Well, I think it was wonderful and thank you very much. I think that you brought up some very important, points, especially things that, we need to be discussing
Right.
because this is what is making a change. And honestly, the main thing is you're trying to provide people with tools.
Yeah.
And I thought it was amazing. So I really enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you very much again for the opportunity. And I think that you're brilliant at what you're doing. It's great.
Thank you so much for being here and thank you so much for your kind words. It was wonderful talking to you and I love the conversation, to be honest.
Me too. Likewise.